All right, we're rocking. All right, you ready? You good?
Yo, 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 what's good, baby? Yeah.
Fucking crazy. All right, so we're gonna talk about like the what is it? The assets of our community connected to Yoso's. Is it Yoso or how would you pronounce his name?
Yo ho. I just watched Pirates of the Caribbean this weekend, and you know that song, Yo ho, all hands, is in my head. Sorry,
That's
but
like
yo so, I
Yoso,
think.
Yoso. All right, so talking about capital. So I know I was talking to my son about his school and he was saying like he's been in this program for his school for years, and when I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about like, what goals does his school have, he said that
Mm-hmm.
they want to become an avid school, which I thought was really cool. So they want to become a school that's like a magnet school for like the avid program, which is like
Mm-hmm.
a way to get students to want to go to college. So
Yeah,
they're
college readiness. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My high school had an avid program.
mhm.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
So he was saying how they're like incorporating it into everything they do in the school. So they're doing like Cornell notes in all of their classes. They're doing like what was the other thing he said? Wicker is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what Wicker is?
I don't.
I had it looked up the other day.
Sounds like a slur. I'm kidding.
It does. It does. You're right. It's writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading.
Hmm.
So it's
And
a free.
so it's like a writing, reading software that helps students develop the reading and writing skills. Is that kind of what it is?
So it's not like software. I think it's just like I don't know what it is exactly. He just said that they're like incorporating it into their schools. Um, so,
Mm,
but I just thought that was
that's
cool how
cool.
they're like slowly building into trying to become that avid school. So,
Yeah, I think incorporating like real life programs into. I'm gonna turn the light on because it's dark in here.
mhm.
Incorporating real life like assets like that into the education, I think is really, really important. And so I do think that's cool. I think Avid was one of the cooler programs that my high school had. Um, just because there are a lot of students who might want a college career but don't know how to prepare themselves for that. And the reality is that you can't just go to college because you want to go to college. Like you have to be ready. And so, um, like we have to equip our students with those like skills they need to navigate that um successfully navigate that kind of like curriculum and environment, which is just not like that's not something you stumble into. It takes a lot of intentionality.
Right, right, yeah, you're right. I know that I was not prepared at all for when I went to college because I don't know what Cornell notes are. I'd never been taught how to take notes in my life. It was like, copy exactly what I wrote on the board. It wasn't, use this note structure to try to take your own notes. Like the process of taking notes in college was so different from what I did in high school. So, they kind of
Mm,
just leave you to yourself to your own. So that college prep will really help out a lot of students I know, especially
yeah.
ones that didn't have the intention of going to college. Do you know? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No.
I was gonna ask you. What are the goals? Do you know any goals from your school, your local schools?
Yeah, yeah. So I think my local schools have a big emphasis on getting our kids college and career ready. So I think
Hmm.
like I'm from Durham and Durham Public Schools has lots of different initiatives. So I was talking to my mom and they have at Southern they have like a mechanics trackway or a nursing trackway and all these different like these are high school programs, but like they have different programs to establish kids in a career in which they want to in the fashion in which they want to go. So it's like starting like kids to by the time they graduate high school to be able to do what they want to do with their life, which is the goal in general. But I think really being intentional about that because we've said it for a long time, but not actually done anything to help them. So yeah.
I know, like, so there's a big difference there for me that I'm seeing is that my in my local neighborhood is it's more high end. There's more, people with money in my neighborhood.
Hmm.
So it's all about that college preparation to get them ready to go to college for these high paying careers. Whereas like, in my local schools, it was more like the career ready. So it was more, and like you're saying in Durham, it's more career ready. But I do like that there's like, there needs to be an emphasis on both. Because students need to know that they can do whatever they want. If they don't want to go to college, that's fine. If you want to become a mechanic, because like I loved working on cars. I still love working on cars. So I
Hmm.
mean, like,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to become
People
a
who do
mechanic.
trades will make more money than us as education majors ever will. Like, people who are electricians make six figures in a couple of years.
Hmm.
We're never gonna make six figures, and that's okay. But like acknowledging that the world does not work because everyone goes to college and gets a job that you can go to college to get. Like, that's not what makes the world go around. Like, we need people who have a desire to do all sorts of different things, and exposing kids to the different aspects of the world is really important. Just like giving them the opportunity to experience the world is not just college. Like, yes, college is pushed in some areas and careers are pushed in other areas, but we should really be pushing both everywhere.
I 100% agree. I think that like, it is going to take a diverse group of people that want to do everything. I know my mom loves working in grocery stores, working with, working
Mm-hmm.
in what is it, customer service. She loves working in customer service, and that's all she's ever wanted to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, people love what they love and do what they should be able to do what they love. Um,
Right. Because there's movement there too. Like, just because you love customer service doesn't mean you have to be like a customer service representative forever. Like, she could become like a different kind of manager or help train people to do customer service. Like, there's movement and career possibilities in that, and we don't often
oh
teach people that there's like ways to do that.
yeah, I know a lot of people in customer service that make like upwards of six figures that make like really good money. So you know,
Hmm.
you can
Yeah,
definitely move up and definitely make some good money in customer service as well.
there's a lady who was at my church who who works on staff at the church now, but before she came on staff, she had her master's degree in organizational leadership, and she literally taught people at Blue Cross Blue Shield for like 10 years how to be organized and how to be leaders. And that's she just liked teaching people how to do those kinds of things. Like, she was just a very organized person, and she likes teaching other people how to be organized. And so she got a master's degree in it, and like literally was able to make a career out of teaching people how to be organized and leaders, which is so cool.
Right. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about like for the community overall. So a lot of what my community overall, their aspirations, their goals is to secure that generational wealth. So they want to buy a house, they want to like, secure have, secure financial stability for not themselves but their future generations is what. So
Mm-hmm.
that's more what like my community is about, is like securing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important. Um, like securing wealth, but teaching people what wealth is and how like you can have capital in different ways. So like capital can come from like monetary wealth or like linguistic wealth. Like some people, especially like in our families who come from other countries, um, like language and bilingual, being able to be bilingual is capital. Like being able to speak another language, that's like an asset. Um, and there's so many kids in our schools who just have the ability to speak another language, and they're starting to put more systems in place so that more people can develop that language skill. Um, because I think it's really important that I think what we don't really talk about here in America, but they talk about in every other first world country, is that it's important to speak more than one language. And like kids in Europe and other first world countries across the world, like grow up speaking at least two, if not three languages consistently. And they get to be an adult and they're able to use these languages like nobody's business, and they can communicate with a wide range of people.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't know. I know like a lot of people are like, looking for housing. I think like it's a big boom nowadays that like almost everybody wants to own a house to secure that future wealth for their
Mm-hmm.
families. I think it's like one of the big things that I know a lot of people are doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Houses are getting expensive too.
yeah, because of that, because there's that high demand that a lot of people do want to secure that. for them,
Yeah.
for themselves and their families. So,
Yeah, you're gonna have to
um,
get a sticker mom for real.
but I wanted to go. We could go into talking about the that linguistic capital and how like so I know my son was talking about it and he was like it took him a little while to think about it and he was really trying to figure out how that linguistic capital was helping him and students are and children don't like see it a lot as much as us adults do like when we're looking at these kids and we looking at the different cultures like sharing their backgrounds to create this like bonding community that works together and
Hmm.
my student was talking about how like everybody is learning so all of everybody's learning together and and my son was said that they learn from the different personalities of their peers that they collaborate with so they work together in their collaboration to like learn from each other and the different and that was another thing that was talked about by my wife in the community she said that there's a very diverse community here in
Hmm.
Carborough and so there's the Spanish, the Burmese community. There's a very large Asian population. I know Burmese is probably one of the more common ones that are around. And she talked about how that because we celebrate everybody's cultures, it gives us more. There's a lot to share. There's a lot of culture to share and spread around with everybody, and we do it a lot through food. And so there's a lot
Hmm.
of like different food cultures. Everybody's like different foods on displays a lot.
Hmm.
And but yeah, so yeah, it's important to like share cultures so we learn from everybody to create the community.
Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful part because I think too is like, like I love how you like noted specifically the country they're from. Like you didn't just wrap Burma, is that the name of the country? Burma into Asia. Like you were just like a bunch of Asian people. Like making space for each individual language and culture because like the beauty about linguistic and cultural capital is that like you have to have unique aspects and identity in order to share it. So if we start tying in everybody from Asia is like people who eat noodles and dumplings and I don't know are short, like we start stereotyping, and if we start thinking about everyone from Africa being black and writing on some like writing on lions to school, like we've missed the gist. Like we've missed the
Of
part that
course.
like linguistic and cultural capital is like unique to each individual person. Um,
And that was
in a
the
shared.
that was the big point I was making with my son is it's not just the students, it's how the teachers talk differently than the students and how the students, how they, blend together to create their own languages. Like so it's,
Mhm.
a lot of people say that, English is specific and but I don't think so. I think like slang and everything makes, the English the linguistic capital that, you know, can create a community and culture, can diversify things a little bit too. So it's all important to, but yeah, sorry. I'm going off somewhere. I don't even know where
No,
I'm going.
girl, are you sorry? Don't be sorry. Um, no, because it's like it's beautiful when that happens. Like, no, yeah, I think that's the beauty is like you should never stop it. Like you should never hinder it or let it stand in the way. I was talking to my other interviewee and they were just saying how like culture is beautiful because multiple people can have this different perspectives on the same thing. Like like everyone can partake in something and get something totally different out of it and have it mean something totally different to them. And there's a beautiful aspect of like cultural identity and assets is like every student can partake in a culture and all of them perceive it differently and that still be beautiful. Um, and that's how we build like asset based um, spaces for our students to be themselves. Like you don't have to show up and think about this the same exact way, but we do have to draw similar conclusions if that makes sense. Like we can't like I can't show you a picture of a Christmas tree and ask you what color it is, and you say blue, and I say yellow. Like that's just not gonna work. Um, and so like, but we can have different feelings about what it means and what it represents, and like if it is significant to us at all, even.
Yeah, yeah, 100% agree. And I was like curious, like how do you feel about like the diversity in that Durham area? Because I haven't been out there much, and I don't know like how diverse you really feel that it is. Because even working out there, I didn't really like see the diversity that I thought should exist around that area. But maybe you see it more than I do.
Durham's very diverse, but it's very segregated. So like lots of different kinds of people live in Durham, but they just live together. Like the integration has yet to hit really here, unfortunately. Like you can look at it in the schools, and they're starting it now because they just redistricted the schools. But um, for the most part, Durham is really diverse. Lots of like African American people, lots of white people, lots of Hispanic people. Durham takes some of the most like immigrants from other countries in the state. I think it's like the third or fourth most immigrant receptive city behind the Greensboro and Charlotte and Siler City, maybe something like that. Um, and so there's just a large Hispanic population. Um, People from Mexico, Guatemala. Like my neighbors are from El Salvador. Um, I think Durham's like the surrounding triangle has a larger population of like Asian, South Asian people. Like Cary, Chapel Hill have more Asian and South Asian people than we do, but they still work here. Like people still come to Durham. I think a lot of people don't live in Durham. A lot of people work here in Durham and go live elsewhere because it's
Hmm.
expensive to live here.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny
and
because
so,
I know I used to work with some African fellas that lived in Durham. I was going to say African, but I worked with a lot of people that lived in Durham that
mhm.
came to Chapel Hill to work for the same reason. It's just too expensive in Chapel Hill to live here. So
Yeah, Chapel Hill is next to it. Next, Chapel Hill is wicked expensive. There's also not that much housing at Chapel Hill. Like Chapel really is like UNC and two schools and three houses.
yep.
So, um, yeah, it's different, but I love the diversity here is beautiful. There's a lot of cultural diversity here. There's a lot of cultural mixing. Like I think we have some cool like cultural experiences just here. Like there's a new Puerto Rican place. It's Puerto Rican and African mix in downtown called Boricua.
Mm,
It's right next to the Durham Bull Stadium, and that's like a Puerto Rican fusion restaurant that's really dope. But like, there's a lot of examples of things like that and places like that around Durham. It's cute, real dope.
that sounds awesome. A
It's
Puerto Rican
phenomenal.
African food mix.
Yeah, go taste it. It's like they got collard greens next to mofongo and mac and cheese on top of some oxtails. Oh, Alan,
That sounds so good.
Alan, I'm hungry. Oh,
I'm sorry, I am too, man. We'll get through this.
yeah.
All right, so I want to talk about the familial capital. So we'll talk about
Mm.
like how families contribute to that to the community. And the big one for the Chapel Hill Carborough area is that families contribute like so much. We get so much from our families. They give to the schools, they give to the community, they give to people in need. Like they all work together to like help everybody out, and like it's I mean they have the means to do so is the big thing. So they are able to give and they give generously, and I think that's
Hmm.
like so important how the community does come together to give to those in need when they do have
Mm.
the means to do so. It's just super important that you give what you can is the big thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think family can be everything for somebody. Like I think where your family comes from and what they have to say about life influences so much of like what you know and how you approach life that they really are everything. Like
Yeah. Well,
people with privilege are privileged because of their family more than not.
yeah.
Um, Even if it's just access to information, like I think I have privilege, but not because my family's super rich. My mom's a teacher, um, but like I have access to like a depth of information that my mom's been able to provide me my entire life. And so I have different like familial privilege is everything. Like people who are even just a willingness to invest. Like in America, we have a very nuclear thought of like I invest in my family and my family alone. But like, are we willing to invest in communities? Are communities willing to invest in each other? Do you take care of people who aren't necessarily blood related to you? Like, are they a part of your family? Do you know what that
Yeah.
means? Um, do you have a larger sense of community than just the people that live in your household? Is that okay with you? Like, some people just don't have that idea.
Yeah, and I will say that like I feel like that's a big thing here is that they know that like these families know that investing into their community is investing into their children, which is investing into the future. You know, it's investing into the future of the community in as a whole by just they might not even be trying to support the entire community, but by trying to support their children and the children and the schools the children's go to, the businesses the
Hmm.
children's eat at, you know, just trying to clean up the community and make it a better place for everybody is, they're cleaning up the community for their children, and in doing so they're helping everybody in the community. So it's
Hmm.
just like, it's passing down through just, generosity from everybody.
Right. I think that's so good. Like, does the public support the next generation? Like, do people care about the greater good of like the kids that are coming next behind us? Um, that's such a good point. Like, do you support fundraisers when kids ask you to, buy a little chocolate bar? Like, are you taking the initiative to pay $1 for a chocolate bar? You don't even got to eat it. Okay, but can you like, can you help a brother out? Um,
I remember when I was trying to sell things for my school, my biggest purchasers were always my parents, so, you know,
mm-hmm,
and I'm pretty sure that
100%.
goes for most kids.
Yeah, bro. My grandma got me lit, boy. She bought like 100 of them things.
Hmm.
Uh, I think she resold them low key, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but
Um, I think familial capital is so important. I know, like in my own personal life, like familial capital has been important. Like one of my interviews with my mom, and she just like her willingness to invest in me beyond like what probably makes sense monetarily and fiscally is what has set me up for such a great life and such a like blessed time. And it's kind of cool. I'm super blessed.
and we can connect the family capital to the social capital, the people in other resources that are available to help people in need. And because my son was talking about it, and my son was talking about, his school has counselors available pretty often, and there's a lot of resources within his school that's available. But not only that, the parents of the other students like come in and they're also like part of that social capital. They'll come in and they'll help out and they'll be available to students who need, and but
Mm-hmm.
everybody's working together. And
Yeah, I think that I have a story that I think might jump ahead a little bit to navigational capital,
well,
but it ties in this idea of like my mom was teaching in Orange County actually. She was teaching in Chapel Hill, and one of her students, she was an EC teacher. One of her students needed glasses, but the student's family could not afford to pay for glasses, and so my mom was really distraught. She didn't know what to do. She just went to her principal. It was like her third or fourth year teaching. She was like, I don't know what to do, but this kid needs glasses. The next day, the principal comes in and there's a parent that is an optometrist that comes in and literally just like brings all their equipment, gets the kid their prescription, and gives that kid like two pairs of glasses, like that. And my mom was like, "That is the access to capital, like navigationally, socially, like familially, that like really matters." Is like that kid had no tie to that parent that came in at all, but like people were willing to give up their resources to help someone else that was in need.
yeah.
Um, Sorry, continue.
No, no, no. I was just gonna say that's an incredible story. That's great.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful picture of like how much the people around you really matter. Like that kid's family has nothing to do with their success necessarily in this particular chance, but like because of where they go to school, there's privilege in that like the resources that they need were made available through other means, even though their family didn't have access to what they needed to make that work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how some of these communities like come together to like, make things like that happen. I mean, that's a big one, and you got to think that like hopefully that student will be able to pay it forward someday and do the same
Hmm.
thing. It'd be great. But that's awesome story.
Yeah, it's really really dope. But I think that like that kind of capital just really 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 is influential. Like even for my own journey, like I went to a private school for a few years, but the tuition for the private school was my mom's salary. And so like I think it was a few weeks before school started, and we just got this newsletter that some lady donated the tuition for my salary, and I was like, wow, like
Yeah,
she just gave it to us.
yeah,
Um, I did not know who it was. I still to this day don't know who it was, but like ways have been made so that like kids and the people around us can have access to the things that they need. Even just little things like at our internship school, Jackson in Guilford County, there's like that Toyota partnership,
yeah.
and that's just like really just Toyota trying to sow some seeds like into the schools around the area. Um, and they donated a STEM lab, and so these kids have access to science, technology, engineering materials they didn't have before. Um, and like even if it's not in abundance, like they're not in there every day doing everything. Like kids only need a couple times to experience greatness in order to become great themselves. And so, like having access to even the fact that someone cares enough to give them materials is like whoa, like mind-boggling.
Yeah, I love these stories of like, the people from the community being that resource for social capital. For social capital, I mean like the best the things that I came up with was just like, we have a lot of support for people all around here. The food banks are great. There's but I know there was also like a specific company that they're called Empowerment Inc. and they built specifically it's called the Peach Apartments. They built them
Mm,
in Carborough this year to help people with affordable housing. So they built
mm,
these because a lot of people were struggling with affordable housing in my area because it's so
mm-hmm,
expensive. It's really expensive. Like I pay a lot of money for a small apartment.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
so I mean, they need more housing for people that can't afford it in this area. So it was really great from them. But yeah, that'll go past the navigational capital, and we can skip
yeah,
over that, and we can talk about the big one anyways is resistance capital,
mm-hmm,
which is just how to fight for social justice or how our communities fight for social justice and fight against the inequalities. I want to start with my sons, which I don't have pulled up. Let me pull it up. Um, so my son was talking about how his school has made a point to give the students the opportunity to empower themselves to speak up, and they give them the resources and they give them the opportunities to do so. So they talk about every year or every semester at the start in their advisory class, they explain to them, hey, go to use these resources, email us, if you're having any problems or if there's anything. So it's really his school really makes a point to like the empower the individual students to speak up when there's inequalities or if there's any discrimination going on.
mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important is that you need the individual person to step up to let you know what's going on because you can't watch everybody all the time. And so
Right. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think the individual has to take part and take accountability because like a big example, historical example is like the bus boycott. Like if each individual wasn't willing to circumnavigate their own need to take the bus for work, then it wouldn't have worked. Right? Like every person has to be willing to make their own personal sacrifice in order to have a greater change. Um, and so I think like resistance in social capital in social like settings comes from like individual change for the greater good. Um, like each individual saying like I'm not willing to tolerate this treatment, even if I'm not like individually affected by it, because there's someone who is affected by this. And so we have to take a step and say like when everyone stands for something that's small, like stuff changes. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the social movements that we've been seeing as of late, I feel like have died out because it feels like people stopped when the going got tough a little bit. Like when like I think about like the Black Lives Matter campaign or a lot of walkouts that happen today, like I feel like our students understand the act of walking out, but they don't understand that like the one walkout wasn't what changed it. Like the one walkout during social studies once ever does not make enough of a stance against like the education system that teachers are going to start getting paid. Um, and so also teaching longevity in social resistance is that like sometimes you have to do what's uncomfortable for a while. Like I think we've talked some about in our TED 445 class about that Chicago, the teacher strike in Chicago. I think that was in that class.
I no, they were talking about the what was it, the nine, the Little Rock Nine, I think was it, or did they talk about
We
the other
did
thing
talk
too?
about that one too. I thought we talked about the teacher strike in Chicago. Maybe that was not this class, but we definitely talked about that in one of our classes. They were
Who
running
knows?
together. But um, I think my interviewee, the other one, was saying that he's just in an environment where um, like teachers like have to take a stand with each other. And he works in Winston Salem, Forsyth County, and that's where his internship placement is right now. And he's like they just fired a bunch of teachers in the beginning of the semester because they didn't have enough funding. They didn't spend their funding well, and so like he was even just talking about like are people going to stand up when like stuff like that keeps happening, or are we just going to let that go and never say anything?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's tough here in North Carolina because from what we've seen, even in our internship, is like how many of the teachers really, even look like they were working together in the schools. You know what I mean? Like it didn't seem
Mm-hmm.
like there was really enough, collaboration between teachers in general. So, are they really going to stand up? Like, do you think like uh, Mr. I don't know. Do you think like one of the teachers is going to stand up for the other if they get fired when they barely know them? So, and then it's not only that, it's so there needs to be like more collaboration in the schools to get that to
Mm-hmm.
work, but also, we don't have, the unions that other schools have, that other states have and things like that, which to fight for the teachers. So you're right, the teachers have to stand up for each other because
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a representative to stand up for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's tough when you work in a state like this. So, I mean, but yeah, I do agree, and I do think that, I agree with you on the longevity thing. Is like, the fight's gonna take longer than, it seems like we're just not fighting hard enough or long enough to make our point heard, to make that
Mm-hmm.
change that we want to see. But
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we just got to keep going. I think like change will come if we keep using our voice and we keep acting out against the status quo, but we can't like bow down and take it and then expect things to change.
yeah, yep. And it's most important that we as teachers, like, show the change that we want to see in the world because these students are watching us. So
Mm-hmm.
everything we do, they're gonna learn from.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Mahatma Gandhi. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I was curious if you like had anything that you think your mother would say about like how how her school like fought against inequality.
Mm. Hmm. Nothing's really coming to mind initially. I think my mom has. We live in this kind of weird period where like social change doesn't really happen, if that makes sense. Like everything that is bad, but not like something's got to change today bad, if that makes sense. Like someone's getting killed, hurt, really severely like there's a severe disadvantage against like academic progress, but like everything's bad, but it's like no one's. I just let me change my phrasing. Everything there's a lot of bad stuff, but we're kind of desensitized to it, right? Like it's not really nothing's really changing, and so I think she's taught in this kind of awkward period in the middle of time where there's not really any social revolution happening. Like no group has been like they're severely oppressed and like then unoppressed at a systemic level. It's been like a cultural level and a societal level. And so I think the change that my mom has been a part of has been like a social and cultural change more so than like a systemic change.
Yeah.
Like there's not a racism ingrained in the like bylaws of public school anymore, but there is racism and those things engaged like and ingrained in the culture of public school. And so like while the rules might not say, yeah, black and white students shouldn't sit in the same classroom, like the culture does look like black and white students sitting in different classrooms. And so my mom's been a big part of helping students engage beyond cross cultural borders where their own perspective has limited their own progress. Um, and so I'd say that's a bigger one. Sorry, that took a while to say, but yeah.
No, 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 that's great because I was gonna point out, your mom did teach through the whole melting pot era of, schools in the U.S. where, everything was supposed to be considered a melting pot and everybody was supposed to, come together to be white.
Right, right,
Instead of celebrating different cultures, we were supposed to melt together to one culture.
right.
So, and like it was important to like you were saying, like your mother, like celebrating diversity is what I don't like. That's kind of like a yeah. That's kind of what I took from what you said was that she was like
Hmm.
trying to celebrate the diversity of each student, which was I feel is like really important now.
Yeah, I think she did. She celebrated it and empowered them in their diversity.
Right.
Like, always a big advocate for like, just because you're black doesn't mean you have to stay in this level course, or just because you're black doesn't mean you have to do that. Like, you
Yes.
don't have to fit the mold of what it means to be black, or fit the mold of what it means to be white, or fit the mold of what it means to be anything. A man, a woman, like you just have to be who you are. Um, and like we have to sometimes change our definition.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, especially you were talking about like the African American community feeling like so, and my wife talks about it all the time, is how like the Black African American community feels marginalized, and it's specifically for her. She talks about how like the African American farmers are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that like struggle the most, and I've seen like the African American farmers that I have seen have wanted to do the most to help out their communities. Like they have given so much. I know there's one here in Carborough that is that gives like all of their almost all of their food. They don't make they're a nonprofit farm and they give all of their food to people in need. It's
Mm-hmm.
awesome to hear about. But there's also like a lot of Burmese farms that do the same. So it's all about like they support equitable food access by supporting marginalized farmers. So
Mm-hmm.
these African American and Burmese farmers that really help the African American and Burmese communities in Carborough. So we support the farmers who then support the people that need it within their communities, and I thought that was like massive. So like I said, it always I guess like the big thing is coming from like the top down and like and then I know there's another I thought this was really cool because my wife told me about a specific a specific group that's trying to fight housing discrimination and preserve these black communities that still exist here in Carborough, and I feel like that's super important because
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's so expensive to live here. It's tough to like keep some of these people and keep some of these communities alive.
Right. It's really hard. Um, Especially because like farming is a dying trade. Like everyone wants to be rich, and so like to be a farmer means that you're going to live a modest life. And that because they live a small life, but I think like they're not going to become necessarily a billionaire because they grow potatoes. And so, but someone has to grow potatoes, and I think that's even more remarkable that like you do such a modest thing and then give it away is just beautiful. That's really really dope.
Yeah, yeah. You see a lot in communities that like have that. You know, I feel like the tough thing in Durham right now is the housing market as well. So, but like sorry, I'm off of the farmers. I was talking about like
Oh, you're good.
the diversify the housing and uh, protecting these communities. And I feel like it's a tough thing in Durham as well. They're pushing people out of downtown Durham with the high
Mhm.
prices, and even close to where I live, it's becoming super expensive. Like right when you get into Durham to live in that area, and they're pushing a lot of people out of those areas just with the rising prices of housing in those areas. And
Yeah, big bad gentrification, bro. From the time that I was born to the time that I guess to now, Durham looks so different, so different. Um, we call it innovation, but it really just it can be like whiteification if we're not careful. Um,
yes, very much so.
I do believe that's a beautiful thing that like you know things have been changing, but I do question like why is it changing and what do we want to come from the change? Um, just because it can be, we can stumble into like cutting people out of society because of our innovation.
Yeah,
And I think the whole point of capital is that like it gives people a place that that what they have is certified and can help them partake in the environment. So when we almost banish people from it, like it, we're disqualifying their capital, whether that's familiarity language, familial language, like all of it. We can quickly turn this capital that we've just attributed as a strength into a deficit.
yeah. I mean, we definitely need to protect the culture within our communities to really strengthen our communities. Like the communities that are the strongest are the ones that, come together through their differences to create that strong community bond.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Yeah, that's so good. Sweet.
that'll do it
We
for
did it.
us.